In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 ways to start a conversation with anybody, anywhere. And I'm doing this because people often ask me for situational conversation starters. They want to know, Charlie, how do I start a conversation at a networking event? Or how do I start a conversation at a bar? Or how do I start a conversation at a house party? And the truth is, yes, you can have very specific ways to speak to people in each of those scenarios. But if you get locked into that, what tends to happen is you've got all these things floating in your head, and the moment when it comes to speak, there's too much going on, you say nothing. I find much easier. If you've got 3 things that you know you can take with you anywhere, it just becomes reflex, and you actually will speak up, and you'll get into conversation and maybe meet some cool people. So here are the things that you should be thinking about. The first one is more of a mindset, and I call it human Google. The reason I do this is because Google is where we go to ask questions nowadays, right? If you want to know how to get from point A to point B, you go to Google. You want to know what restaurant is really good in your area, you probably go to Yelp, but maybe you type it in first on Google. The point is that we go to our technology, and the power of this first thing is in taking all those questions that maybe we go to technology for, maybe we don't even voice, and asking the people around us, especially the people we don't know, not just our friend group. So a few examples of this just to get you thinking in this mode. I was out at the gym on the day of the Floyd Conor fight, and it occurred to me that I had no idea where I was going to watch the fight. And so I just said to the person nearby me, oh my God, the fight is tonight. Are you going to see it? He said, yes. I said, where are you going to watch it? Conversation started. We spoke for 5 minutes. Now this is someone that when I see him, I say hello, we can chat. Another example, I just moved to Santa Monica. I absolutely love it here. It's amazing. And the question that I probably asked dozens of people was, what would you, or do you live here first? And if you were new here, what would you go do and see to decide if you wanted to stay? And I asked, like I said, dozens of people, but probably met a handful of friends, and I can't even remember because there's so many that I've come in and out, but definitely one group of girls that were at a bar. We asked them this. They gave us some great tips, and now they're people that I see out probably once every 7 to 10 days. They tend to hang out in the same area. We can chat and talk, and we're friendly with each other now. Another example, if I see people speaking or hear people speaking with an accent or a foreign language that maybe I recognize, I might just ask them where they're from, if they're visiting, are they tourists? Now, you might be recognizing, okay, those are all rather silly, inane, dumb questions, and that is exactly the point. What matters is not so much what you say first, but if you want to have a conversation, it's what you follow it up with. And that goes beyond the purview of this video, but I don't want to leave you hanging. I want to give you something. So the second part of this conversation, once you're going, you tend to want to drive it towards the question, how do you feel? In all of its forms. So take that first question where I asked the guy about the fight. We're talking. Now we start having a conversation at the point where I say, are you excited? Or how do you feel about this, right? That's where the conversation goes. The other example, I ask people about things I need to see. We start really conversing at the point where I go, how do you like it here? What's your favorite thing? When you ask them a feeling question, or even the people who are visiting, I say, what are your impressions of Santa Monica? Are you liking it? When you get down to how they're feeling, that's when the ping pong starts back and forth. And now we're talking about how to keep the conversation going, flowing, and interesting rather than how to get it started in the first place. So that is the first one, human Google. The second one, very similar, is what I call human Twitter. If Google is where we go to ask questions, Twitter is where we go to make statements. So a simple example, I was out at the bar the other night and a dude walked in, I swear to God, dressed in full cowboy gear, hat, bandana, I think he might have even had a lasso. And I was dumbfounded. I just grabbed the person next to me. I said, hold on, you need to see this. A cowboy just walked into the bar. And that was it. Now we're talking. I don't even know what we talked about, but the conversation got started. Now, the point with this, and Google as well, Twitter and Google, which are just simple ways to memorize this, is that you're not coming in with a pre-planned question. You're not coming in with a pre-planned line. And the difficulty here is when people go and they try to find, okay, what do I say? And they have one thing they know, for instance, they want to give a compliment to someone. The problem is they're thinking, okay, got a compliment. They walk up to someone dressed like me. And they're going, okay, I need to compliment this guy on his dress. And there's nothing to say. I'm wearing a black t-shirt, and it can come across as lacking in genuineness. But when you actually put that to the side for just a second and think, what are the genuine thoughts going on in my head? There's always something. And while they might be silly and dumb, I hope I've made it clear that it's not the first thing that you say. People are starving to get in conversation, believe it or not. So when you say something like, oh my God, it's so hot out here, I'm sweating like a pig, human Twitter, you're likely to get 3 people near you that go, oh my God, it's so bad, right? And now you can begin. And as soon as you get, now you're driving towards the feel, right? Isn't it insane? Like, it's just sweltering out here. I can't stand this. I don't know if I want to continue to live in this area, or maybe I'm thinking of moving somewhere else. When you get into that feeling part, now you're having a conversation. Again, I'm taking this off of conversation starters, but I want to give you a little bit more. That said, there is one more thing that you can use, and this one is more of a line, and it works really well in closed social settings like bars, like corporations, like any sort of an area. So bars, corporations, universities, friend groups, if you're at a party with someone, any sort of a thing where these people do kind of have a reason to speak to one another, right? You're expected to be social. And this one is, you just walk up to someone, you say, hey, I don't think I've met you yet. Say your name, and you stick your hand out for a handshake. So, hey, I don't think I've met you yet. I'm Charlie. This works wonders because it subcommunicates amazing things. First off, it subcommunicates that people are supposed to be mingling here. I don't think I've met you yet. We're supposed to have met at this point. Second, it subcommunicates that you are a social person since you're starting the conversation. They will follow you, stick your hand out right away. Reflexively, they'll shake your hand. And again, dive into the feeling. How do you like it here? What brings you here? Are you enjoying yourself? That's going to get the conversation going. So I don't need to make this more complicated than it is. You take any of these out, you are done. You don't need to worry about how to start a conversation. Now we're talking about different things like continuing the conversation, and I'm going to link up some videos that will help you with that. If you are interested in more detailed stuff about this, like first impressions, we happen to have a course on the subject. And we also have a free video that we give away to see if you're interested that covers the 4 emotions that make an amazing first impression. If you can create these emotions in the person that you're speaking with, they will walk away with an amazing first impression of you. So if you're curious what those are, go ahead, click the link in the description of below or the card or wherever. We'll get something to pop up here and you can check that video out after dropping your email into the little email slot. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And of course, I will see you in the next one.